Little Nightmares is a stealth platformer horror experience in the vein of Limbo and Inside, but what sets it apart from the games it's most often compared to? Atmosphere. The atmosphere is creepy and lies in the music, visuals, and the way the characters are designed. The way the characters appear are as if pulled from a Tim Burton animation with odd-shaped bodies and protruding arms, but they have a far more sinister tone, featuring bandaged heads, obesity, or creepy crawly-like presentation. They generally either invoke a fear of disgust or despair. The setting of the game is some kind of ship, and the cold metal environments and dimly lit areas really give the game an aura of hopelessness. The protagonist is weak and small in comparison to the game's enemies, and for the early stages of the game it really makes you sympathise with it. The whole small person in a big world full of big people is intimidating. The atmosphere is vaguely disturbing through most of the sections of the game when it isn't intensely creepy. 1 Harry Mason. Scares. The scares in the game are often down to the unnatural way the enemies move and interact, with sudden jerky movements or in pure animalistic gluttony or hatred. It's not scary in the way things happen, but in the way enemies react to things, smelling you out like you're a rodent. In the few truly intense moments of the game when hiding from an enemy, you're drawn into the typical fear of being discovered, and it's used effectively due to enemies being incredibly perceptive but never unfairly so. In the rare occasions that you're forced to defeat an enemy to escape it, I never found these sections scary, since infinite retries meant I could keep trying until I defeated it, which sucked any fear that may have been put into these sections out. The hunger aspect of the game really hits a strong note when the protagonist is forced to search for food, and it brings some of the more memorable and disturbing moments of the game. About halfway through the game came a part where the protagonist is running through a pit of old shoes as some kind of monster started tearing through the shoes after them. This is as close to the chase section as the game got, and whilst it was very exciting, it was over too quickly. All things considered, the scariest part of the game is down to the design of the enemies. Whilst not traditionally scary like amnesia monsters or a Dead Space necromorph, these are scary in their own disturbing yet cartoonish appearance, and the way they act as if these beings are real. The AI is versatile, searching for you under tables and grabbing you off shelves, reminding you that nowhere is safe. That's 2 Harry Masons. Sound design. The music on its own is creepy, with children humming these haunting melodies, droning off-key high-pitched notes and clashing percussion. It's horror movie-type music that's put to good use in this game, intensifying any good stealth section. The sound effects are amazing, with the enemies making guttural gurgling noises, heavy breathing and frantic heaving, not to mention the screams and the sighs. The environment as well is fantastically brought to life, with creaks and groans of the ship, drips and rattles. Really well done sound design all around. That's 3 Harry Masons. Gore. The game doesn't feature any really, unless you count turning pork into sausages, but I've got to give it a point for getting it right. It would have been needless in the scenario created in the game. That's 4 Harry Masons. Story. The story in Little Nightmares is on par with that of Limbo and Inside. It's not told as much as it's felt. The game is a blank slate that fills itself in as time progresses. With no backstory, the actions of the protagonist speak for themselves and often make the player uncomfortable watching things unfold. I won't spoil anything, but I'll say what the game did reveal left me curious about more, making the final score 5 out of 5 Harry Masons. Whilst the game isn't perfect and certain detection whilst trying to grab things in an intense moment is incredibly finicky, the game is a great experience despite being so short. I wouldn't say it's better than Limbo or Inside, but it definitely sets itself apart effectively. Again, I'd like to remind you this whole thing is down to my opinion in horror games, and if you don't share this opinion, then that's cool. I get it. I'd like to point out that whilst I did feel disgusted by some of the enemies in the game, I did not scream like a banshee or run away from the computer, and I advise you don't either. There'll be more horror reviews in the pipeline, and thanks for watching, and always go check out Bumps in the Middle of the Night. Peace.